Hello, and welcome back to Meet the Eatmons Endangered Species Podcast, where we inspire, uplift, and spotlight people and individuals, couples that we think are really doing something special in the world today. And so we're very excited to be here. We are your hosts, Curtis and Spring Eatman, and we're fired up for this talk today.
Yes, we are. So, question, can you give everything to someone and still lose them?
Ooh. Just coming out the gates.
I mean, I think you can if you miss one thing, right? Mm-hmm. So that's going to be our conversation here today, you know. So today's episode will be pretty raw, in my opinion. We're going to be talking about appreciation. We're talking about accountability, love, without just the intimacy that everyone always thinks about. You know, when you say intimacy, someone generally thinks about one thing, you know. Yeah. But we're going to talk about 8 different ones in the conversation. We even have some guests coming today, I think,
my
right?
gosh, special guests. My twin... Growing up, my twin that everybody used to tell me that I look like. We're very excited to have them on the show today.
Yeah, we'll get some clips from them, so it'd be pretty interesting. So let's get right into it, right? Let's just invite the guests right up front. Yeah?
Yes.
All right, cool. Let's watch it.
Well, again, our families are very, very different, right? So I grew up not having, she grew up not wanting. Mm-hmm. She understands a lot more that that's not the norm. Mm-hmm. The getting what you want when you want it is not the norm. It's just not the norm, and the only thing you want to feel is appreciated. Yeah. Yes, I mean, once that was that, I don't care. You can have it all. I'll do whatever. I'll step in front of the bullet and the train as long as I know I'm appreciated. As long as I know that I'll do whatever. When you ain't never had shit, you ain't scared of going back to not having shit. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. But you'll do whatever you need to do for the one you give a damn about. And I'm just like, shawty, I'll run through the brick wall for you. Mm-hmm. Just long as I know that you understand I'm about to run through this brick wall for you. You know what I'm saying? I might not get up when I hear this. You know what I'm saying?
I love that. Our special guests, Nelly and Ashanti, everybody, yes.
Yeah, thank you guys for coming on.
Right. Thanks for coming on. No. Yeah. Yes, but I thought that was really good. That clip was really good because I think it's so true that for men and women, appreciation is one of the main driving factors in a relationship that I think a lot of people really underestimate. And I think that, like, for example, for us, if I'm at home, and you're, you call me and you say, hey, babe, I'm on my way home. Did you make dinner? If not, I can pick something up. Like, to me, that is such a big deal because it's such a small gesture, but it's you appreciating me and not saying like, hey, I expect that you have dinner already. I'm going to show up and say, where the hell's my meal? I've been working all day too, Mm-hmm. And so you have that thoughtfulness to make sure that we still eat regardless of how we get to the meal, right? Or just little things like you'll come home and bring me flowers and a card like on a random Wednesday, just little things that show appreciation. And I think it just reminds you to stay in the relationship, right? And I think for men, I think that's probably something that men probably receive the least, or it's overlooked the most for men, because I think sometimes women expect, like in these things as women, we want to have the flowers and the candy and we want you to, make sure that you do sweet things for us. But I think sometimes men are going out, working, doing their thing, and sometimes we forget to say thank you. We forget to build you up and start to do those things. And so I don't know, what is your take on this?
I was reading something a little bit earlier today, but even before we started this podcast, and was saying that a support to a man from their spouse will make that man 3 times more successful.
That's good.
Just the encouragement, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like fuel. Like, you even saying that right now makes me want to do something. like, what do you need? Because I think at the end of the day, everybody wants to feel, loved. Of course, they want to feel appreciated. They want to feel significant, right? No one wants to be, isolated in a room or don't feel like they're not adding value to that room. So the fact that I'm adding value,
Right.
and the fact that you are recognizing that, especially if you do it publicly, all right? Every man wants to feel celebrated. Everyone hears that, but I think women want to feel celebrated too.
Yeah.
That's why you'll be like, hey, how do I look good? Did I look good today?
Yes,
Sometimes like,
yes.
you hate asking that. You want us to say it first, right?
Yes, exactly.
So I'm with you,
Say
100%.
first. Don't make me ask. No.
unless you're a brat like me, I just be like, I already know, right? It's so funny because she'll get dressed, right, and she be looking good, right, and I know, like, she'll walk by me and she just wants to hear me say, "Dang, you look good," but I just won't say it. I just be like, "Hey, babe, how you doing?" It's not. I'm not saying you should duplicate what I'm doing.
No, this is not good advice. I'm like, where are you going with this? Because this is not good advice.
You gotta make them like, you can't give it to you all the time, right? Don't worry, but
Anyways,
you're the
moving
apple
on.
of my eye, baby. You're the apple of my eye. You know it, 100%. All right, cool. So let's go to this. So question. So when was the last time you made your partner feel appreciated without them having to earn it or ask for it?
That was like what you were just
I
saying.
know.
You
I was
trying
just
to make
talking
me
about
earn
it. You earned it, baby. You earned it. You got 4 kids. You do everything you do. You earned it. Believe me, you good. All right. So what do you think about that?
I think that's a really important question for you to ask yourself, and keep that as something that you remind yourself to ask yourself often. Because I think it, like, just like we have to have reviews for our job or for our businesses, or if our kids are in sports, we're going and talking to the coaches and saying, how are they doing? Where are they at? Where do they need help? Where are the misses? Where are they doing better? Blah, blah, blah. Do they need to do individuals, like whatever? That kind of stuff. I think it's really important for us to do that for our relationship. Yeah. Hey, where are we at? How are things? What's the temperature? And really think about how, not just what are they doing for me, but what can I do for them? And it doesn't always just show up as a me and you. It does. Sometimes if you have a family, it shows up in that way as well. Like, when you just take the kids, hey, I'm going to take the kids, I'm going to, take them on a day golfing, and I'm going to take them to dinner or whatever, and you just rest, or you just go get your nails done. Like, that is such a big thing. Like, it's a small thing, but it's a big thing. And it's appreciation. And I appreciate that, who you are as my husband, but also who you are as a father and a leader to our family, because you are consistently showing up. You're not like babysitting your own kids, right? You are present in their life and present in relationship with them. And so it doesn't always all fall on me. And I think that's a something that we don't always celebrate or appreciate. And so I think it's something that's that needs to be said. But I think this is a question that people should ask themselves. Like, when's the last time that I did something for them just because, right? Like today, I cut up some oranges and put some grapes and, made some stuff. I'm like, here, I'm bringing you some food just because that's my form of appreciation.
100%.
And so this is the other thing that you have to keep in mind, is that the way that your spouse shows appreciation may not always be the way that you want to be appreciation. Yes. But do you still value what they're giving you? I mean, yes, it's important to communicate, right? Communication, right? It's important to communicate.
It's going to be a t-shirt what you say that.
I know, communication. But it's important to communicate and talk about, what your needs are so that they are met. But are you is your partner feeling like they're giving out appreciation, but you're not receiving it because it's not the way that you would want it?
That's deep, girl.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next one. Because I think there's a story behind sacrifice usually, and you look at any like successful relationship, or those that are single and they would like to position themselves to be successful with the right standards, the right systems before they start, right? Because I think that's the biggest thing, is you're on the right foundation. Like, you're going to mess up before you even start. Yeah. Right. So when we watched the video with Nelly, we watched the video with Shanti, and then he says she grew up, right, not wanting. I grew up not having. Yeah. Right.
That was like the opposite for us.
Yeah. There's different phases for sure. But yeah, we definitely have different perspectives on seeing both those sides. Like, what do you think the contrast is for that, like, for a relationship? that maybe, they're like Nelly and Ashanti, but they're trying to build a life together, and they have to be able to see things the same way when it comes to that relationship. What do you think about that?
I think it's important to recognize that, people are carrying invisible weights sometimes. Sometimes they're carrying things that come from their past, and it's a part of the way that they see the world. And sometimes, even though it's invisible, they need you to help them lift it sometimes.
Ooh.
Right? And so that's why it's so important to be intuitive in your relationship, and also know your partner and their background and all the things, because sometimes the way that they see the world based off of the way that they grew up, they might need help having some tweaks or getting to where you are, right? Like I said, for us, that was a little bit opposite, right? I mean, I'm not going to act like I just grew up like, oh, I'm just so, like, my whole life I was just so poor that I couldn't even eat every day. Like, yes, we'd had that, but like we had those times where, but as I started getting older, my mom was getting, well, she worked like 6-7 jobs a lot of my life, but she started going to one job and having better, more money, not like crazy buku, but we were okay
to sustain.
And so I think that, like, for you, the way that you grew up was like, oh my gosh, to me, looking at you living with both of your parents in this big old beautiful house and a pool in the back, and you have a car and BMW and all the things, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, because that was so far from my reality, right? And so I think that sometimes, but just because you don't grow up the same, it doesn't mean that you don't understand the position or the pains or the different viewpoints that your partner has. But I think it's important to dive into that and really understand, like, what do they see and what are their issues? Like for me, I didn't have my dad in the home growing up and things like that. So I had certain issues when it came to, men or, certain things like that, you had to kind of understand, or the experiences that I've had, like, losing my first husband or whatever, those kinds of things were important things for you to learn how to navigate, even those were invisible weights.
It's interesting you say that, because, sometimes, we're asking our partner to carry something that we did not take the time to understand.
Yeah.
And which that's kind of back to you. So it's like, are we really considering empathy, or is it ego where I'm not even willing to even understand your perspective? Right? I'm just like, this is my perspective. This is how I grew up. This is how we're going to do things. But not being able to see both sides of the coin, because there's any type of one event, or I guess you would say circumstance, there's always 3 views. Like there's my view, there's your view, and then there's the view. Right? And depending on how we grew up, of course, experiences and, our time of being able to understand, will be able to relate. In my opinion. So I'm with you on that, right? And I believe couples who practice, we call it attachment safety.
That's good.
They're the ones that ultimately make it through tough times.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be some tough times ahead, but again, depending on our systems of how we grew up, and we're willing to, again, compromise them to smash those systems together effectively, could turn into something beautiful. So let's go to some things about intimacy.
Okay.
All right, because I think that, there's 8 different ones. Most people don't know that there's 8, right? Most of us know. I know. I mean, when me growing up, I know about 1.
Yeah.
Just call it what it is.
Of course you do.
Yeah, it's the most important one, in my opinion. It's the worship of all worship, right? So
only when you're married.
Yes. So most people, again, think that intimacy is just about sex. But there's 8 different ones. We're going to break down really quickly. So let's walk through them, yeah?
Yeah.
And we'll give some stories. So the first one is physical intimacy, which is everyone. That's the number one
That's
that
what we know about.
Yeah, right? Baby,
It's
too
like,
far right now. Where are you at? Come on, come closer, right? Did you see that video of Mario? They were like, he faked this out about how he could dance because all he's doing is this. It was this video. We got to post it, right? It was so funny. No shots at you, Omarion,
We
but I'm
love
just
you,
saying we
Om.
love you too, man. Yeah, but like it was just funny, right?
You were a staple of our childhood.
Yes, it
We love
was,
you.
man. You know, I got an ice spot in my heart where my heart used to be, right? Remember that? All right, cool. Anyways, so physical intimacy. So like holding hands, hugs, being close. You know, babe, describe like in regards to like why is that so important? Because a lot of people just think sex again, like, but why is physical intimacy so important to represent in regards to like how you want your relationship to I guess you would say blossom?
Yeah. Well, I think the fact that we were actually built originally for companionship, that we saw during the pandemic, how when people were cut off from that physical touch,
Yeah, that's good.
that a lot of people started to have mental issues and having all these problems. They started building companies where you can just meet up with somebody just to get a hug or just to hold hands because you don't have anybody in your life to do that.
Yeah.
Like that is something that is very, very important, and it's a part of our human makeup to have that crave and that need of another human touch and intimacy. And so I think because we're created for that, it's such an important thing for you to have a successful relationship, for that to be a part of it. But it doesn't just mean sexual. Yeah. And I think for women, sometimes the issue with physical intimacy is that sometimes it can feel like, because men's physical intimacy so easily can turn sexual, for women sometimes it can feel like there's no other physical intimacy. Like I'm only good for physical intimacy if it's sexual, right? And so I think that that's something that comes up for women, which makes them pull away from physical intimacy sometimes. So I think you just have to kind of find that balance of understanding like the importance of sexual intimacy in your marriage relationship, but also the importance of just having cuddles, just giving you a hug, just coming behind you and holding you for a little while, just holding your hand or watching TV and kissing you on the cheek. Like that stuff is also just as important as the sexual physical intimacy.
Do you think that physical intimacy, doing holding hands and doing all those different things leads into sexual intimacy?
I think it can, for sure. And I think men and women are just built different in this area.
Yeah.
For men, it's like as soon as they see you or as soon as you brush up against them, it's like, whoop, ready. It's like, bro, I was picking up a sock off the floor and you over here thinking it's time to go just because I brushed up next to you.
Oh, you were wearing a small little sundress that day. That's what she was doing. You knew what you was doing. She knew what she was doing.
But the thing is that it's important to understand that for women, they have to have non-sexual physical intimacy for them to feel sexual.
That's good.
For them to be led into the sexual physical intimacy, they have to feel like they want to have that sweet love first, and then they're start to feel the sexual part. Does that make sense? And for men, they have to have the sexual to want to do the sweet. So it's just always kind of goes back and forth.
That's my point.
Women and men every time. We're always the yin and yang every time.
Yeah, so that means that one's going to have to sacrifice, or both are going to have to sacrifice and meet each other in the middle.
Meet in the middle. Meet in the middle.
Yes.
Okay, let's go into emotional intimacy.
Yeah.
So this is feeling safe, sharing fears, dreams, truths, all these different things. Wow. So, what do you think is like a moment of emotional intimacy?
Emotional intimacy is like when we open up, emotionally about something that's really, messing with us or struggling, there's been many instances where we've sat down and it's like, you might ask me, how you really doing? I'm like, I'm good. That's my first response. But then you keep asking, like, no, really, like, it's okay. Like, are you really okay? I'm like, no, I'm not. Let me tell you why, right? And if you can get to that fact where, especially your spouse, it can trust you, because that's ultimately what it is that can I trust you with my heart? Yeah. Can I trust you with my guard being down, especially if I'm supposed to be the one protecting, getting in front of a bullet for you, getting in front of a train for you, and now let me put my armor down for a little bit. Let me show you how I really feel. Yeah. And then help me put my armor back on after you stitch me up. That's kind of what it is. And if you guys can build that relationship, you can handle anything.
Yeah.
Especially.
I think that's such a big thing is as women for us to check in on our men, because I feel like it's a lot of times men checking emotionally on women because we're so like, like we
bit.
wear everything on our sleeve. We know, you know exactly how we're feeling, all the things.
Yeah.
But for men, it's a lot deeper, and you can't always just take that first answer of like, oh, I'm fine. Oh, everything's good. It's like,
Yeah.
no, you can trust me. Like, I want you to feel like you can open up when things are getting tough. Right.
Yeah.
And so
That's good.
I think that's a very, very important one, because so there's this quote that says, real love listens past the words and hears the wounds.
That's deep. Yeah. So can you hear? Yeah, because there's definitely, there's always a language that's being spoken under the words.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
absolutely.
All right, let's go to the
Very
next one.
good.
It's intellectual intimacy.
Very
All
important.
right, can you stimulate my mind?
Yes.
Right? Can we, sharpen each other mentally? I think it's a big one. So like learning, reading, or talking ideas together. Like, this is the fun part. Like, especially if you have someone that can sit and ride with you, and you can talk about like, hey, this is the house we're going to get next. Let's talk about how we can get it. Let's talk about our credit, how we're going to move that up. Let's talk about capital. Let's talk about the next business we're going to open up. Like, ideas, things that move forward. That's fun for me. Like, that's a turn on for me, and I think that's for a lot of men as well. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's a huge one. It's funny because I just took our daughters, like the other day, last Sunday, you took our son to go play golf.
Yep.
I took our daughters to brunch. And we sat down and I talked to them about, the importance of different things as, they're becoming young ladies and the things that they want to grow up and think about. And one of the things that I told them was the importance of being beauty and brains.
So big.
Right? I told them that, your beauty is a tool. Right? It's a tool because like God didn't just create you like this to be beautiful for no reason. It's a tool of attraction so that people will be able to see you. And then what do you have to say once they're looking?
That's it.
Do you have anything to say?
That's it.
And so that was something that was really important that I was talking to them about. My grandfather really drilled that into me when I was young, is that there are going to be billions of beautiful women in this world, but there are very few beautiful women that are very smart that can lead. And he always told me quality men always want a quality woman. There's going to be some insecure men who want that trophy wife, that little like just be seen and not heard woman, but that's not the man you want anyway, right? The real men, they know that this woman is going to be raising my children one day.
That's it.
This woman is going to be the woman who's going to be, helping me to lead a business or to do whatever and like lead our lives. This is going to be my counsel when I have issues or when something comes up.
That's
like
it.
I need this woman to be able to process
and
be on the same level. And I want her to raise my children to be thinker doers. Right.
It.
And so I think that that's something that's super important.
That's heat. I don't skip. Thinker doers. That's a big deal because people don't understand the difference between a thinker and a doer. Most people are thinkers but don't do nothing.
Yes.
Some people are doers but they're not even thinking about what they're doing.
Yeah.
So a thinker doer is very powerful dynamic of a leader.
Right.
So I'm with you. I'm sorry. That was just a good intellectual intimacy
Real
spark
love.
for me, right? That's what it is, right? Yeah. So here's a quote
that's real love right there. That intellectual.
Yeah, that's it. So again, it says that when the mind grows with the heart, the bond becomes unbreakable.
Yes.
That's
very
it.
much so.
Yeah, we got that for sure. So
Lockdown, clink, clink.
All right, let's go to the next one. Experimental intimacy. What's that one?
So I think this is just like doing fun things together, doing life together.
Okay.
This is, going and doing something new that you guys have never done before. Maybe, going to a cooking class or taking a dance class or an art class or, let's go to the theme park and do a roller coaster. Let's do something fun, something different. It doesn't have to be crazy. This might be playing a board game together or it's just experimenting and making things light and fun. And I think that's really, really important in relationships.
I think it's so much important. Like, I mean, I know I always look for different things that are I can't even say that.
Spontaneous.
Spontaneous. And she's intellectually helping me today. Right? But spontaneous. I think that's a big one. Like I remember right before the pandemic, it was coming up to Valentine's. I was like, hey, let's do something different. Remember? And we went to a cooking class where we got to make chocolate.
Yes. Oh, we need to do that again.
Yeah, that was pretty dope.
Right now, but yes.
I'm about to die right now. That's crazy. All right, so that was cool. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I was like, we gonna go make chocolate. Like, go give me a Snickers, we'd be all right, right? But I was like, let's see. Like, I want to like kind of see how it was made.
Yeah.
But I knew that you would love the experience too together.
That was one of my favorite dates that we've ever done. It was one of my favorites. And it was really special because it was like the last moment that we were outside. So it was good that we weren't just sitting on the couch, you know, like it was like the last thing we did before the world shut down.
Yeah, for real, for real. So okay, let's go to the next one because we only got a couple more to go. We have sensual intimacy. What's sensual intimacy?
Yes. Yeah. That's eye contact. Playfulness.
Yes.
You know, that's you know, doing things that create a craving for each other within the other person, right? You know, like, you know, catch a glance from across the room and you give them a certain eye, you blow a kiss. Maybe it's a sexy text message.
Yes.
You know, something like that. You know, you leave a card with roses and, you know, things that create that craving for each other within the relationship because, go ahead.
No, you're good, baby. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say because it's very important to be intentional about creating sensual intimacy in your relationship. Sensual intimacy, fellas, it leads to sexual intimacy. And that's really important because for women specifically, you got to be led. You got to be put in the mood most of the time. And so start dropping some little sensual moments, some little things like I brought you, just put on that red dress. And them high heels, and someone else even you. No.
She's crazy all the time, man. All the time. But I mean, honestly, if desire dies, you know, attention's gonna fade.
100%.
You know, so I like when I walk into a room and I see a cross, I'm like, dang, I'm like, thank God she's my wife. Thank God. All right. Or you do the same thing, like, ooh.
That literally happened to me this past weekend. Yeah. I was standing with my friend talking to her and I was like, gosh, dog, he fine. And you were walking up and she was like, what am I supposed to say to that? She was like, I'm happy that you feel that way about your husband. I don't know what I'm supposed to, like, yeah, he looks bomb. Like, yeah, he's fine. Like, what am I supposed to say? And I was like,
it was a test. It was a test to see how you really feel.
It was a rhetorical thing that was happening here, but you just happened to be standing here. So, yeah. Good answer, though. Don't be talking about, your man's so fine. Yeah, he's fine. Then now we got to fight.
Right? Let's go to the next one. All right, that's love right there. Which is spiritual intimacy.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh yes, I like this one. You know, like praying together. Mm-hmm. You know, reading the Bible.
Going to church.
That's big. That's big. You know, do you have a story that is in mind that, you know, spiritual intimacy kind of, you know, something that's expressed through us?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've done fasts together.
Yes.
Where we fast and prayed and like got up every hour and read the Bible all through the night.
Yeah,
even.
I remember every 3 hours. Yeah.
You know, and it was something that was like, whew, it was intense. But it was like that seeking together. There was something about that was very special. And we really saw God move as we did that. You know, the way that you encourage our family. We do Bible studies as a family from time to time when we go to church. And then after church, we're sitting around as a family talking about, you know, what did we get out of service and all that kind of stuff. I think that's so important. But I think for me, one of the most beautiful spiritual intimacies is when I'm sleeping and I wake up to you praying over me. Like, that is...
Not breathing over you?
That too.
What was that? Hey Arnold, remember that?
Yeah, oh, Hey Arnold. Oh, see, I'm ghetto because I was thinking of, was it the Projects, the PJs?
Oh, PJs.
Remember? Juicy, he eat your cookie. Juicy, we ain't got no cookie.
You must be on a diet for real because you keep talking about food. Like, you keep talking about food.
I'm hungry. I'm trying to eat healthy, y'all. I'm trying to get it together. I did a detox this week. I'm trying to get it together, but woo, I am hungry. But anyhow, that is the most beautiful thing. When, you know, I wake up and you're praying over me and it just feels like, wow, I'm covered. Like my husband covers me. That is like one of the most special things that I'm so grateful for in you. Yes.
Love. Okay, let's go to the next one, baby. Conflict.
Yeah.
Intimacy.
Well, let me just say this.
What's up?
When you put God in the center of your relationship, it's always a foundation, and it always will build you stronger.
100%.
I'll say that.
100%. That is nothing else that replaces that.
Yes.
All right, let's go to the next one, which is conflict intimacy. So we're not always going to be happy together?
No, not always. Not always. And
okay.
it's weird because in this one, you look at this like, how is that an intimacy?
Yeah.
Because you have to learn how to disagree with respect.
That's it.
You have to learn how to disagree and have a conversation and not be yelling and not be cursing and calling each other out each other's name, and be able to maybe even get to the point where, you know, you're able to see each other's sides and understand where the other person is coming from. Like, that's actually a very important part of a relationship.
Oh, it's
that
everything.
People want to remove out of a relationship, but it's not a real strong relationship without that.
I agree.
So conflict intimacy is a real thing, and it is important.
And if there's no conflict, it's not, I mean, I'm going to call it what it is. You're not even growing together. Because if all you did was to say yes, agree, like the story's boring.
Yeah.
You know, you got to get through some things. Like, you know, you got to be able to grow. You only grow through conflict.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's very important, but you have to have a system.
Yes.
You know, and there's different systems within it. You know, is this like a red type of conflict where we need a break?
Yeah.
Like, all right, I need a day.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like I need a day and we'll come back later on. We don't even have to say nothing. We'll see you later. Right.
Yeah.
Or is this like, you know, it's a yellow where, you know, give me a couple hours. Or is this a green type of conflict? Look, let's talk right now. We can't sweep under the rug. Like, you got to have a system behind like how you both operate. And just because I want to talk now doesn't mean that we need to talk. Yeah,
yes,
like,
exactly.
you know, so being clear on that, because some people just want to jump right into it. And then that's when it just gets worse because they weren't ready to actually handle the conflict ready and maturely.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
So, yeah.
You know, it's really important to understand that fighting fair is not just about like winning. You know, it's about making sure that you remain on the same team. And that you're looking at the conflict and understanding that it's not about me and you against each other, but it's me and you against the issue. That we're fighting to find the resolve for each other.
That's it.
For us to be wearing the same jersey at the end of this.
That's
you know?
it. Yes, I like that. It's the last one. This is the most important one, right? Well, I mean, it's the last one for a reason, right?
Yeah.
So creative intimacy.
Very important.
So what is that?
That's building something together. You know, creating. You know, this is having children.
Oh man, I like how we keep going to the
raising children.
Physical intimacy part,
right?
Isn't that great?
Building your home together, not necessarily like physically building, but like you get what I'm saying, like building your home together, and you know, for us, building businesses together.
Yeah.
That might be for some of you guys, building businesses, and you know, there's just different things that it's very important to call out their creativity because we are created. We believe that we're created to be Christ-like. And to be Christ-like is to be creative,
100%,
right?
yes.
He's consistently creating, building, making something new, changing something old into something new, taking dirt and turning it into human. Yes. You know what I mean? Like, you know, exactly, right? So we are created to be creative.
That's it.
And so I think it's important to call out the creativity of your spouse. And it doesn't mean that your creativity is going to match. It doesn't mean that we're going to have the same exact likes. Like you are very, very good at systems, creating a business structure, creating all that stuff, the things that I'm like I just would rather do anything else than sit here and like write out a whole curriculum and all this stuff. And then, but I love to do more of the creative things like the aesthetics and this and that, and the people, like, you know, the experiences. And so they come together and they work together well. So creative intimacy doesn't mean that your spouse has to have the exact same loves as you, but you got to find your lane within their love.
Ooh, that's good. Your lane within their love. That's a bar, bro. That's legit. But that's legit. So I think, again, when you're building the right brand, like your family brand, right, your bond automatically gets built.
100%.
because you're all working for that same championship ultimately, right? So
Absolutely.
think about the businesses we've like for the couples when we've done Royal Alliance or Kingsman for me or Queendom for you or you know, all the different things we've done, right?
Yeah, lots of things.
Lots of things. We get, and that's the fun stuff about it because we can support each other because we're consistently doing it together.
Yes.
All right.
Exactly. I love it.
All right. Well, there goes your 8 for you, right? You got to look at again for you. Which ones can you increase at? What systems can get better at? So your intimacy overall collectively can go into a different level because I don't think people fall out of love. I think they fall out of rhythm.
Ooh. Bars. Yes.
I love that.
Hey.
All right.
Give it back.
And I think that, you know, when you say rhythm, it's like, can we dance together? You're right. We're not always going to be on the same note, but like, just in case I get off a beat, can you pull me back in?
Yes.
All right.
Exactly.
Let's get back on the same rhythm together.
And you gotta
so we can
know
move
which dance you're doing.
That's it.
Because you might, you know, I might be trying to do the tango and you trying to do the merengue. I don't know.
What? I was trying to hype you, but I was like,
the two-step. Okay, the two-step.
Yeah, that's easy right there. Yeah, a little cha-cha. You got the cha-cha. Just keep it there, right?
You gotta know which dance your partner's doing. You gotta get with the step that they're on. So that's good.
Yeah, I feel it.
All right, well, guys, we're so excited. We hope that you really received something. If there's anything you think we left out, put it in the comments because we'd love to have this conversation continue with you and your spouse. Go and ask them the questions that we've talked about and how they feel about these different things. Go through these different 8 intimacies and see where do you guys fall, or are you falling short in an area? Or do you feel like you're doing really well in a certain area? Are there things that you've been overlooking that you need to implement into your relationship? Whatever the case is, we're glad that you were here today. So we will see you next time. But just so you know, we're so grateful that you've been here today. Whatever's inside of you that may be, that you feel like might be endangered, something that's important, something that the world could use to shine. It's not just important that you survive, but it's vital. So pull those things out of you, let it shine, let the world benefit. And we hope that you join us again here next time. We'll see you again on Meet the Eatmons Endangered Species Podcast. Take care, guys.